Perched high atop the crest of West Mountain, above the village of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, sits the breathtaking 1886 Crescent Hotel and Spa. The 72-room resort, where almost every room is said to have at least one ghost, is known as one of the most haunted sites in America. And according to legend, in 1937, radio personality and inventor Norman G. Baker bought the hotel and repurposed it as a hospital. There, he treated cancer patients with homemade remedies and elixirs. Unfortunately, Norman G. Baker lacked any training of any kind in the medical field, and allegedly, he is responsible for hundreds of deaths. The innocent lives lost by Norman Baker's wicked scheme are now said to haunt the rooms of the 1886 Crescent Hotel. I'm Ashley McLaughlin, and I'm going to tell you a ghost story. This is Southern Haunts. The stunning hotel was designed by well-known Missouri architect Isaac L. Taylor. Taylor had recently made a name for himself by designing a handful of buildings in St. Louis. A majestic spot was needed for this grand hotel, and 27 acres at the north end of West Mountain would do quite nicely. The hotel was built overlooking the valley of Eureka Springs. On May 20th, 1886, the Grand Crescent Hotel opened its beautiful doors amidst enthusiastic fanfare. The Eureka Springs Times called it, quote, America's most luxurious resort hotel. High society from across the country flocked to the hotel to attend its grand opening, which included a lavish ball, complete with a full orchestra and banquet dinner for the 400 or so celebrants. Offering outside amenities that included a swimming pool, tennis courts, and croquet among a beautiful landscape of flower gardens and winding boardwalks and gazebos, the opulence of the hotel was unmatched at the time. Immediately, the well-to-do from all over began to flock to the luxurious resort hotel. Once there, the guests could not only enjoy the healing waters of the spa, but also a stable of 100 sleek-coated horses, tea in the afternoon, and elaborate parties every evening with a full in-house orchestra. However, the prosperity would not last. After the turn of the century, people began to realize that the acclaimed, quote, healing waters didn't have the mystical powers that the hotel and the city had become known for. Little by little, people stopped coming to the beautiful resort. From 1908 to 1924, the building was utilized as the Crescent College and Conservatory for young women, while still acting as a resort during the summers. However, after operating for just 16 years, tuition and revenue from summer guests was not high enough to maintain the cost of running the grand structure, and the women's college was closed. The once noted resort sat abandoned for some time after that. But in 1937, a man named Norman G. Baker arrived in Eureka Springs and bought the aging hotel for the purpose of opening it as a cancer hospital and health resort. Baker's health resort advertised miracle cures that required neither surgery nor painful extensive tests. The Baker Hospital alleged that its patients would walk away from the resort cancer-free and ready to live a very long life. However, what was unknown to the many desperate and very sick patients who flocked to the hospital was that Norman Baker's miracle was nothing more than a con that he had been pushing on unsuspecting patients for years. This con man had absolutely no medical training and had been convicted in Iowa in 1936 for practicing medicine without a license. The American Medical Association had actually spoken out and condemned the many elixirs that were sold for a number of different ailments, including cancer, by Dr. Baker. While operating his hospital, Baker was also being investigated by federal authorities, and in 1939, he was finally arrested for mail fraud. Baker had made as much as $500,000 per year through the mail for his magical cure elixirs, according to one of the U.S. postal inspectors. Crimes such as stealing money from people, impersonating a doctor, and facilitating slow, painful death should lead to a long prison sentence. But that's not always how our system works. And in 1940, Baker received just a 4-year prison sentence for swindling cancer patients out of millions of dollars and even killing some of them. But since they could not prove that his injections killed anyone directly, he did not face charges for any of those patients' deaths. And once out of prison, Baker lived out his days comfortably in Florida until his death in 1958. Given that the Crescent Hotel was once a house of slow, agonizing death and lies set to a majestic backdrop, it makes total sense that patient spirits might still haunt the halls of the historical resort. The doctor himself, Norman Baker, is said to still be roaming around in the old hotel. A shape of a man wearing purple, a color Baker wore often, has allegedly appeared in the old recreation room in the basement and at the foot of the main staircase. Some guests have reported seeing and hearing nurses with medical carts walking through the halls and rooms. Others claim to have seen a nurse pushing a gurney toward the basement, which served as a morgue at one time. Some ghost hunters and paranormal explorers have claimed to see re-experienced paranormal encounters. Things like children being seen huddled under the morgue's autopsy table pleading for help. A Baker patient who also served as a hospital assistant has also been seen in and around room 419, better known as Theodora's room. Visitors have reported hearing someone fumbling for their keys outside the door at all hours of the night. Others have claimed their belongings appeared reorganized when housekeeping had not been in the room. Theodora has even reportedly packed visitors' bags for them, perhaps hinting she wants them to leave her room. According to reports, she's hardly a malicious spirit. And according to the hotel's housekeepers, she politely introduces herself as a patient and then vanishes into thin air. Tragedy did not just come to the Crescent Hotel with the fake doctor. The first tragedy to happen within the hotel's walls dates back to the building's construction, and the man involved reportedly still haunts the hotel. A stonemason named Michael was supposedly working on the hotel's construction in 1885. As the story goes, he slipped and fell from the second floor, landing in what would be the first floor grand lobby, and died on impact. Michael's spirit now apparently messes with the lights, doors, and electronics. Visitors say they can sometimes hear a man screaming as he falls to his death. One guest even claimed that they saw blood on the walls, and even a hand reaching out of the bathroom mirror. Today, Eureka Springs is known as the Halloween City. The resort and town offer year-round haunted tours and shows related to the gruesome events that have taken place within the walls of the resort. A website for the hotel says, quote, "The secluded mountain city comes to life with seances and zombies every Halloween. Whether you are looking for an investigation, a murder mystery, or a ghost hunt, Eureka Springs is the paranormal destination for you." On February 5th, 2019, Susan Benson, the hotel's gardener, made an amazing discovery while working to extend the hotel's parking pad on 15 acres of mountaintop property. There, in that first scoop of dirt, were a couple of strange medical-looking bottles. Benson was well aware of the hotel's seedy medical history, and she immediately called the hotel's ghost tour manager to come check it out. When he arrived, he realized the bottles Benson had found looked a lot like the bottles in the old advertisements for Baker's elixirs. Further digging uncovered a few more unique bottles, one of which contained something fleshy floating in a nearly clear liquid. Again, from what was on the faux doctor's poster, it was perceived to be what looked like a cancerous tumor that Baker used as an advertisement for his magical, medicinal, albeit false, claim of curing cancer. Today, approximately 30,000 people take a ghost tour at the Crescent Hotel each year. The resort's rich paranormal history is alive and well and waiting for all who walk the grand halls of this historical paranormal hotspot.
Hi there, it's your host, Ashley McLaughlin. I just wanted to take a moment and thank you for tuning in to Southern Haunts. And if you like what you hear, feel free to leave a review and subscribe to the podcast to make it easier for others who like to hear haunty, spooky stuff too. Thanks. Bye.